Is creativity a prerequisite to agility? Well, let's take a look. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Hello, all my friends. Welcome back. So great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a true believer. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right, listen. There's a question about whether or not creativity is a requisite skill to running an agile organization. Well, it's worth looking into because creativity is one of those skills that not everyone has, that not everyone works on or develops consciously. And so if it's a prerequisite, we should probably get after it. All right, first let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There are so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. And remember, if this helps you, tell your friends. And don't forget to join us in the Badass Agile Listener Lounge on Facebook. Everything you need is in the show notes below. Hope to see you there. All right. Do you need to be creative in order to run an agile team? Well, to my mind, agile and innovation are permanently linked hand in hand. You kind of have to have one in order to have the other. In order for agility to serve you, it has to be part of a continuous learning and creative process. That is to say, I have an idea or a problem to solve, I have a hypothesis about how we're going to solve it, and I have some experiments that I want to try in service of that solution. And with each experiment that you try, you learn, you probably fail a little bit, you correct, and you try again. So the first question is, if you don't have creativity anywhere in your team or organization, how'd you get a backlog? What's in your backlog? Is it just a bunch of requirements from an old BRD? Did you port your BRD into an agile backlog or a set of Jira stories? Because if so, what you've done is agilize a traditional, probably software development project. Now, in many ways, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But where agile really shines is where we do something different, where we talk about what's possible. We ask customers, what is it that they want in terms of not only capabilities, but in terms of outcomes. What do we want to give our customers the ability to do, to become, and to feel by offering them what we do? And believe me, they'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you what freedoms they're after. They'll tell you what kind of certainty and comfort they're looking for. They'll tell you when they're looking to be engaged, excited, enthused, or even just cared for. Customers will tell you exactly what they want from an experience working with you or your product. And once you know those things, this is where the creativity kicks in. This is where you go about the business of figuring out the most efficient and effective way to give your customers what they want. Now, this is why I love the word effectiveness. Because when customers tell you how they want to feel, or they give you a problem they want to solve, they generally don't tell you exactly how they want you to solve it. They might give you some constraints. Those constraints could be anything from regulations to internal architectures, things that constrain the set of solutions that you can reasonably propose. But once they've done that, you can let your creative fire take over. You can come up with all different kinds of ways to solve their problems or meet their needs. That in and of itself requires the creativity muscle. Because remember, at the end of the day, creativity is really a form of problem solving. It's not just a way of visualizing things that haven't existed before, but a way of visualizing answers to difficult questions. If it were easy, everyone could build it and everyone could build it quickly, but we all know that that's not the case. Now here's another area where practicing creativity can really help your agile practice. Creativity, to me, is partly about habit busting. If you do the same thing the same way every day, we can't really call you creative, now can we? You've fallen into a habit, and not to say that that habit is bad. Sometimes we call those things ruts, or creative droughts, or routine. But hey, there's a lot of great things about routines and rituals. It's just that every now and again, we need to snap out of the way we've always done things so that we can practice and imagine new ways of doing things, new associations, new possibilities. Those things are what get us and our customers excited. That's what we Agilists should be living for. So creativity allows you to look at the way that you've always done things, throw them away, and start visualizing or proposing a completely new way of getting the same outcome, but maybe with less waste or in less time, with less resource cost. You know, maybe one of the most important aspects of agility is that in the ideal, it should be an enabler of ideas in action. When I think about great Agile organizations, great Agile teams, they're literally ready to pivot and act on a new idea at the drop of a hat. Wouldn't it be great to just come up with something and then be able to test it in the market a couple of days later, to put it in front of a test audience so they can feed back and tell you if the thing that you're proposing is a winning idea? The speed and iterative nature of Agile is what allows us to take those ideas and very quickly put them to the test. And if they won't work or can't work, we can retire them for now and move on to something else. So maybe another way of saying what I'm trying to say is that Agile not only requires creativity, but in a way, it enables and fosters creativity. In a perfect world, you're going to put your idea engine, your creativity engine, and your Agile engines very close together because they're the two mindsets that can really help each other. So I know you've spent a lot of time in your career developing your Agile brain, developing your Agile skill, developing your Agile knowledge, but now I think it's time for you to put some investment into your creative brain. Do you have a creative practice? I've done lots of episodes on how to have a creative and brainstorming habit. Now is an excellent time to revisit them and put a new 5-minute ritual or 10-minute ritual in place that will let you practice and stretch the creative brain. Encourage creative exercises with your team. Anything you can do, even for a couple of minutes a day, that allows people to free think, disassociate regular patterns, and come up with new things, new connections, will only serve your team in the end. So if you want to do something truly different, especially in the big global corp world where people are not supposed to be thinking too much or creating too much, if you really want to supercharge your Agile game, make sure you have a creative practice. Make sure you have some kind of creative ritual. Line the bookshelves with books about innovators, idea people, artists, writers, painters, musicians, doesn't matter. Because we have so much to learn, not just from the tech giants who have dominated the news and the business thinking of the past decade or two, but in fact creative thinkers throughout history. So go and enjoy the process and think of this as a force multiplier, something that can take your Agile game to the next level and make you more competitive, make you a more complete leader and steward of high-performing teams. Let me know how this works for you guys. You can reach out at badassagile.com or find me on Twitter at badass_agile. I thank you for being listeners. I love you all because you're crazy. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.